everyone, and welcome back to Emkin Gardening. Today we're going to be doing part 2 of our garden plans for 2023. In the last video, we detailed some of our garden plans for the front yard of our house, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the backyard. So the backyard is very different than the front yard. There's definitely not as much of a open space of yard in the backyard. We have like a big cement square in the middle of the backyard, some other cement things happening. We have some flower beds that are established already back there, including the shade one that Ryan did this last year in 2022. So the first thing that we're going to be focusing on for our garden plans in 2023 for the backyard is going to be the hydrangea bed, we call it. So the hydrangea bed is on the back of the house, and it has the limelight hydrangea. It also has the Incredible Blush Smooth hydrangea, which is different than the pedicle hydrangea of the limelight. These two limelights take up the majority of that bed, and we're having a really hard time making the remainder of the bed look nice. There are some things in there. We have some irises that pop up. We have some asters that pop up. But it kind of looks messy. There's like a forsythia that is on its way out, very much on its way out. So that is going to be another really big project that I would prefer to do earlier in the season when the hydrangeas are still small so that we don't run into when they get ginormous and take up a huge portion of the bed. I want to have the space visible so I can see what I'm working with when we redo that bed. So that bed is going to be a pretty big project for us. We might be transplanting some things, we might be planting new things, but definitely want to focus on getting that bed a little bit more buttoned up and nicer looking. The second thing that we're planning to do in the backyard this year, 2023, is actually create 2 more shade beds. We absolutely loved the shade bed that Ryan had created in that back corner of the property. We didn't realize how much that shade bed brought us joy throughout the year. And there are 2 spots that are pretty difficult to mow around. We have to kind of like weed whack them. And those are in between the areas of the peach tree and the cherry tree in the backyard. So instead of having these like awkward grass areas that would need to be mowed, need to be weed whacked, we're just gonna make them into shade beds, more shade beds. So we will continue the brick border that's around the dogwood perennial shade bed and kind of wrap a little like half circles our plan and fill that with shade loving plants, perennials and annuals. And then do the same thing right underneath the peach tree, which of course when the canopy's all there, both of those areas are not getting a lot of sun because those trees get really big. So we'll again do another brick border that kind of swoops in a semicircle to create another shade bed. They'll probably be identical, I'm thinking, but that's a really big project. Of course, creating beds, it's removal of the grass, it's leveling it out, it's making sure the bricks are nice and secure. So it is quite a big project, but I know that Ryan could do it since he did that other one and he's really good at it. So that's going to be in the works for this year. And then just to kind of button that whole area up, we want to complete the dogwood bed. Now in there are a whole bunch of shade perennials. However, it's not performing how I really want them to perform. Again, that back shade bed that we created blew us out of the water. Like, we want all of our shade beds to look like that full, that lush, that full of blooms. So I think we want to button up the dogwood bed a little bit more. And if that means popping in some shade annuals, I think we would love to do that just to bring in that aesthetic as in the rest of the garden when it comes to our little mini beds back there. Another one that's on our list is another kind of revival project, and that's in our courtyard area, that little space that has all of our climbing roses. Again, it's very interesting sunlight. Half of it does get some part sun, but the other two sides are predominantly in the shade. So we want to make sure that we're picking plants that are going to thrive in a shadier area to kind of revamp that space. So that might be perennials again, and it possibly will be annuals because they're really skinny areas. So I want that space to be absolutely beautiful. And I think one of my priorities for that space is going to be fragrant flowers. I want to see if I can find, a fragrant shade-loving plant. But in a little bit, I'm going to be talking about how I'm going to come up with that. And then another huge project that I'm really hoping we get to this year is the space behind our shed and garage. I don't think we've ever showed you this area. It is where our compost bin is. So our compost is tucked in the back. And then we also have our huge soil pile from the previous year. You know how we reuse our used old soil a lot at the beginning of the season to kind of not have to buy a substantial amount of new soil for a lot of our projects. We kind of keep it and then rejuvenate it with Biotone. That huge soil pile is back there. But there's also a lot of weeds, and it's useful space. It is completely shrouded in tree coverage. It's very shady back there. So I don't think it's going to be a garden growing space, but having it cleaned up and transformed into usable space would be ideal. So that's going to be on the list for this year. It's going to be an interesting project though, because it kind of is like its own little wild environment back there. So, and there is a section of it that does get full sun that I would like ideally to put like sunflowers back there, the really tall ones that we could just kind of let go and have them do their thing. So there is potential. There's a lot of potential back there for storage space, for composting. There's just so much that can be done if it's cleaned up. So we're gonna try to clean it up. Another one that kind of piggybacks on our front yard garden plan video is adding water features and stonery into our backyard. Where we are lacking in water faucets, we are not lacking in electrical outlets in our backyard. For some reason, we have many electrical outlet access points in our backyard. So having either solar or electrical accessibility for water features, I think, will be wonderful. And we want that moving water to make sure that mosquitoes don't come, so we want that water to be moving. But some of those fountains and water features that we highlighted in our last video, those might make an appearance in the backyard as well, tucked in, and just adding not only that beautiful sound that water creates in your space, but having some movement, attracting wildlife. Those are the things that we're kind of looking for in regards to the water features. And then the stonery, again, not anything huge or showstoppery that's going to draw attention. We want things that are kind of smaller, more manageable, that we can tuck in, that add a little bit of interest, that's not green or foliage or bloom interest, that it's strong strength kind of stone beauty. I think that juxtaposition is really nice when it's done kind of delicately. So hopefully we can get that going in our backyard as well. And then the very last thing that we are going to be focusing on in this video, it doesn't actually pertain to our backyard, but just like the roots portion of our last video, this one kind of is going to be highlighted in our backyard video, and that is landscaping projects. So we would like to do more landscaping projects this year in 2023, and whether that is friends and families, homes and spaces, or in commercial use, what have you. we just want to do a little bit more outreach and a little bit more kind of giving to others in regards to flowers and garden spaces. So we have a lot of people who love to garden or want to love to garden. They love the beauty of it, but they might not know kind of how to get going. And they have a bunch of usable space that's empty, that's ready to go, but they might not know what to do with it, you know? So we want to kind of go into the landscaping with putting in that structure, you know, talking about all of those things and creating areas in their garden that they would absolutely love to spend time in and nurture and watch and help grow as well. So landscaping is definitely on the docket for this next year. And I know we talked about the Proven Plant Pairings tool on the Proven Winners website in the last video, but they also have another tool that I want to talk about in this video, especially when it's pertaining to landscaping, a brand new space. So Proven Winners came out with an advanced search option on their website right when you enter the website. And what this advanced search option does is it kind of takes it significantly more steps further than just what they had previously had, which is, I think it was like growing zone, light requirements, colors of the plant, you know, very basic search options. But this advanced search option really goes into detail, and I think it's going to be an essential tool for us when we are considering people's properties or people's garden spaces and the exact requirements that they're going to need when they are trying to explain to us and partner with us on what to create in their space. So for example, if you go straight to the Proven Winners website, right below the search bar, there is the advanced plant search link. So if you click that, it's going to take you to a ton of filters. You have the basics, which are a little bit more than the original search engine let you have, but then you have maintenance. So if you wanted no deadheading necessary, you just wanted the plant to just grow and you don't have to touch it and you want it to look beautiful forever. Or, you know, there's different plant products that you can do, but even in the basic quadrant, there's, you know, heights, there's habit of growth, which I think is wonderful. You can have more native things. It specifies which wildlife you would like to attract. There's specific water requirements. So if you know that you have a boggy area that is saturated with water a lot during the spring or summer months, let's say you live in a more water central area and you need kind of boggier plants that you still want to be absolutely beautiful, that is an option to click on because you can really hone in and specify exactly what your area needs. And it's going to help so much when you are considering creating a brand new landscape in your property. And then if you scroll down, you can have uses. So right there, it gives you so many different options for what you're going to use this space for or what you're searching for adding into your garden bed. Let's say you really wanted to do dried flowers, or you really wanted to have an edible garden, or you have a low light space. There's so many different options and I absolutely love it. Ornamental characteristics. Again, right here, fragrant foliage, fragrant flower. I'm excited because I can use this tool for our courtyard. I can put in, I want shade loving, but I want it to be fragrant in some way, whether it's the bloom or the foliage. And then to see what options are presented to me that I can then either order from the website or go to my nursery and try to find something native in our area that is within that family. So this advanced search option goes into so much detail, more than what the original search link would have offered you, and we are going to be utilizing this a lot coming up this year. You all know us, we like to be very efficient, and this to me is very time efficient when you are garden planning. You know, you don't want to spend hours and hours looking for compatible plants to put in this particular space. Some garden spaces are really hard to garden in, and a lot of people feel like they can't be successful in gardening because of what they're given, you know? So I think this advanced search tool is going to take a lot of that pressure away, because you can say, I want no deadheading, I want a drought tolerant plant, I want it to be part sun because I know that I only get part sun in this area, I want it to be able to survive in crummy soil because I don't have amendments, or what have you, or I have a pool in my grass that I don't want there anymore. What plant can I put there that's going to suck everything up and make sure that I have something beautiful that's also not sogging up my backyard, what have you. This is going to be so time efficient to just click all those boxes and pop, lo and behold, here's a list of plants that could work for you based on all of these requirements. I'm so excited. My personality is like, yes, this is wonderful. I'm so excited to play with this. So that is the biggest thing I think that's going to help us when considering our landscaping plans for 2023. We will be linking the Proven Winners website down below, so you can just follow kind of the video we just showed you on how to access that advanced search and have fun playing around. And that's the list for our backyard garden plans for 2023. They're a little bit different than our front yard plans, different spaces. We're going to be adding a couple beds, buttoning up a couple of beds. The light is very different in those areas that we're going to be working in for this year. So that's going to be fun. We have that big behind the garage project. Honestly, that's pretty intimidating to me. It's gotta get done. It's one of those chores that you just have to do, And then obviously adding in a couple really fun things with the water features and hopefully the stonery and our landscaping goals for the year, working with other partners, working with friends and families, gardening spaces. So there's a lot to look forward to in 2023, and we hope that you liked this video to understand some of our goals. And again, like we mentioned in the last video, we hope that you are also making some of your garden goals for 2023. It's going to be a great garden year. We know it. So we are going to link our first video for the garden plans for our front yard at the very end of this video so that you can check that out if you happen to miss it. And we are going to link Proven Winners website down below so that you can check out that advanced search option as well. If you liked this video, give us a thumbs up, comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe to Empkin Gardening. We have some surprises coming up in the next couple weeks. So we hope that you stay tuned and you get excited because we are very excited. All right, we hope you're having a wonderful weekend and that you had a fantastic first week in the new year. We will see you in the next video. Bye.